Wow, it's packed, man. I feel very honored to be standing in front of all the Worm Eaters Club here. So yes, my name's Jen. I am a Democrat. But I have been very honored and blessed to be able to serve the 37th Middle Texas District for 18 whole months right now. But first, before we get into all of that, I'd like to tell you a little bit about me, why I ran, and talk a little bit about politicians. I'm from New Hampshire, so any questions about New Hampshire, I am prepared. I'm from New Hampshire. I grew up in Rochester. My parents, neither one had gone to college. They were both working class folks. Their parents had been mill workers. So, you know, I did not grow up into a family that was wealthy in any way. And, you know, they worked. My mother put herself through college. She worked as a rural postal carrier and went to school nights and put herself through school. And so that was my example growing up. I have an older brother. He still lives up in Rochester. And I went through public school, graduated from Spalding High School in 1989, and went on to college. My folks got a little worried about finances when I was in school, so I took a year off and worked and supported myself, got my own apartment. And I think that was a great experience because I learned a lot about being responsible, about taking care of myself, not relying on others, and met my husband and moved to Florida. So that's where I ended up finishing school, getting a degree, having my first child. I have 3 children. And as my daughter started to grow, I missed my family and decided South Florida was not necessarily the best place, I felt, to raise her. I wanted to come back to New England. I'm a New England girl. So we ended up settling in Lunenburg, 1996. And, you know, had 2 more children, enjoyed the town, a beautiful small town, loved the schools. I was a PTO volunteered in the schools, and that's really where my service started, just as a mom and a volunteer. And my husband volunteered to serve on one of the school councils, and when there was an opening on the school committee one year, the chairman of the school committee came to me and said, you know, your husband should run for school committee. And I was so angry that he decided he should talk to me about my husband running. I ran. And so it was just out of spite, honestly, that I entered politics. So, you know, I have a lot of New Hampshire in me, I'm telling you. So I just decided to show these guys up, and I would just do it myself. So I did. And I spent that first term learning a lot. And so when we're talking about term limits, you know, one of the things I often think about is how long is the right amount of time? Because it really takes, I believe, a full first term to really learn and be effective. Going through the budget process, learning the budget process, learning how to read a municipal budget, you know, what the cherry sheet looks like when it comes from the state, how to deal with fluctuating revenue figures, how to deal with staffing and personnel levels. And there's a lot to learn. So that experience, I think, was extremely important. And so I chose to run a second term because I felt obligated to use the knowledge I had gained in that first term. And that's really why I decided to run a second term this time, because I feel that for my district, it's hard on the district to have a freshman rep. Because you don't know anybody on Beacon Hill. You don't know exactly what the process is to get things done. And so it takes that first term, I think, to become effective. And being an effective legislator is about helping your district. And so my decision to run a second term was really based on making sure that I protected my district and served the district. So I ended up running for the school committee, winning that first term. It was a contested race. My re-election was uncontested. And my last year and a half, I was chairperson of the committee. And it was an honor that, you know, not only had my town elected me to do the job, but that my committee colleagues had asked me to become chair. And that was a wonderful experience. We had just come out of very difficult teacher negotiations, 18 months of difficult negotiations, because we were being very fiscally prudent. We didn't have a lot of money. We couldn't give away tons of money in salary, and so we did what we had to do. We sat on it. We made our offer and sat, and we waited. And we didn't budge. So when I became chair, things were difficult. There was a rift, certainly, between the school committee and the teachers' union. And so I worked on increasing communication with the steering or the executive committee of the union, trying to work out issues prior to them boiling up to become complaints and legal problems that cost the district money, and was pretty effective in doing